Let's be honest. Your first $10,000 feels impossible. Until it doesn't. When you're starting from almost nothing, even saving your first $1,000 can feel hard. So when people online start talking about building wealth, investing, and reaching financial freedom, it can feel disconnected from real life. Because if you're sitting there with bills, debt, rent, groceries, and a paycheck that disappears way too fast, hearing someone say, "Just invest more," is not helpful. But here's the truth. Your first $10,000 is one of the most important milestones in your entire financial life. Not because $10,000 makes you rich. It doesn't. But because once you prove to yourself that you can build that first stack of money, you stop seeing money as something that only leaves you, and you start seeing it as something you can actually keep. That changes everything. In this video, we're going to talk about the real road to your first 10K. Not the fantasy version, not the fake guru version, but the real version. The slow version. The disciplined version. The version that actually works. Because the people who build real wealth usually don't do it with one lucky moment. They do it by learning how to keep the first 10,000. Why your first 10K matters so much. Most people think the first big money goal should be $100,000. And yes, that's a great milestone. But $100,000 feels so far away for most people that it almost becomes meaningless. It sounds good, but it doesn't feel reachable. 10,000 is different. 10,000 is close enough to chase, but big enough to matter. Once you have 10K, a few things change. First, you stop feeling like one small emergency can destroy you. Second, you start gaining confidence. And third, you start building the habits that lead to much bigger numbers later. The first 10K is not really about the money. It's about identity. It's the moment you stop being someone who only earns and spends, and start becoming someone who earns, keeps, and builds. Step 1. Stop trying to look financially okay. A lot of people struggle to save because they're spending too much energy trying to look fine. They want to seem stable. They want to seem successful. They want to seem like they have it together. So they keep the car payment. They keep ordering out. They keep buying clothes they don't need. They keep saying yes to things they can't really afford. And little by little, their money disappears. If you want your first 10K, you have to get comfortable looking a little less impressive for a while. That might mean saying no more often. That might mean keeping the old car. That might mean not upgrading your lifestyle every time you get a little extra money. This is one of the hardest parts of building money early on, because society rewards appearance. But savings rewards restraint. And restraint is usually invisible. Nobody claps for the meal you didn't buy. Nobody congratulates you for not financing something dumb. Nobody sees the discipline. But one day, they do see the result. Step 2. Create a number that you can actually hit. A lot of people fail because the goal is too vague. They say, "I want to save money." That sounds good, but it's weak. A better goal is, "I'm saving my first $10,000, and I'm doing it by putting away $200 every paycheck." Now you have something measurable. If you save $100 a week, that's $5,200 a year, $200 a week. That's $10,400 a year, $500 a month. That's $6,000 a year. The point is not that everyone can save the same amount. The point is that vague goals create vague results. If you want your first 10K, break it down into something boring and repeatable. That's how real progress happens. Not with motivation. With math. Step 3. Build your first 1K before obsessing over 10K. This is where a lot of people mess up. They hear "save $10,000" and immediately feel overwhelmed. So mentally they quit before they start. Don't think about the whole mountain first. Think about base camp. Your first real target should be your first $1,000. Why? Because $1,000 changes your behavior. It gives you a little breathing room. It keeps small emergencies from becoming credit card debt. It gives you proof that saving is possible. Once you hit $1,000, the journey to $2,000 feels more believable. Then $3,000. Then $5,000. And once you cross $5,000, 10 starts to feel real. So if you're at 0 right now, don't keep staring at 10,000 like it's one giant leap. Break it into pieces. 1K, then 3K, then 5K, then 7.5k, then 10k. Progress feels easier when you can actually see it. Step 4. Increase the gap between what you earn and what you spend. This right here is the whole game. Saving money is not complicated. It's just hard. You need a gap between income and expenses. That gap is where your future lives. If every dollar you make is already spoken for, you're stuck. If you create space, even a little, you can start moving. And there are only two ways to grow that gap: earn more, spend less. Most people want to hear earn more because it sounds exciting. And yes, increasing your income matters. But for a lot of people, the faster win is tightening spending first. Not forever. Just long enough to build momentum. Maybe that means cutting subscriptions you barely use. Maybe it means cooking more. Maybe it means pausing random Amazon spending. Maybe it means one less weekend out every month. Small leaks matter when you're building your first real financial cushion. And on the income side, this is the season to be aggressive. Extra shifts, freelance work, selling things you don't use, weekend side income, anything honest that increases the gap. Your first 10k may not come from your main job alone. And that's okay. There is nothing wrong with building your first stack of money in a scrappy way. Step 5. Don't keep your savings where you can casually spend it. This is a simple move, but it matters a lot. If your savings sits in the same checking account as your everyday spending money, you're going to keep accidentally using it. You'll tell yourself it's temporary. You'll say you'll replace it next paycheck. You'll slowly train yourself to treat savings like backup spending money. That's dangerous. Your savings need separation. Put it in a different account. Make it a little annoying to access. Not impossible. Just separate enough that you have to think before touching it. Because the truth is, a lot of people don't fail because they can't save. They fail because they keep unsaving. And that habit will quietly destroy your progress. Step 6. Expect the middle to feel boring. This is where a lot of people fall off. The beginning of a savings goal feels exciting. You're motivated. You're paying attention. You're checking your account every 3 days. Then, after a while, it gets boring. You're not broke anymore, but you're not rich either. You're making progress, but it's slow. You've cut some spending, but the finish line still feels far away. That middle stretch is where people lose discipline, because there's no big emotional payoff yet. This is why you need systems, not hype. Automatic transfers. Simple weekly targets. A clear reason behind the goal. Because if your whole financial life depends on feeling inspired every day, it won't last. Real wealth usually looks repetitive before it looks impressive. The road to your first 10k is not glamorous. It's mostly ordinary decisions repeated enough times to become powerful. Step 7. Protect the money once you build it. This is huge. Saving the money is one challenge. Keeping it is another. A lot of people hit a milestone and then immediately spend it because now they feel safe enough to upgrade something. That's a trap. The first 10k should not instantly become a nicer car, a luxury vacation, a shopping spree, or proof that you made it. That money needs a job. Part of it may be your emergency fund. Part of it may be your financial buffer. Part of it may eventually move into investing. But whatever you do, don't treat your first 10k like a reward for surviving. Treat it like the foundation of a new life. Because once you spend it carelessly, you're emotionally back at zero. And starting over is always harder than protecting what you already built. What changes when you reach your first 10k OAE? Let's talk about the emotional side for a second. When you hit your first 10,000, your whole relationship with money changes. Not overnight, not magically, but noticeably. You stop panicking as easily. You start making decisions with more patience. You stop feeling as desperate. You stop thinking short-term all the time. And maybe most importantly, you start realizing that wealth is not built through one giant move. It's built through control. That realization is powerful. Because once you can save 10k, your brain starts believing bigger things are possible. Now investing makes more sense. Now a 6-month emergency fund feels reachable. Now debt payoff feels doable. Now 25k doesn't sound insane. Now, 100K feels like a real long-term destination instead of some fantasy number online. The first 10K teaches you that progress is possible. And once you truly believe that, you become dangerous in the best way. If you feel behind, hear this. Maybe you're watching this and you're nowhere close. Maybe you've had setbacks. Maybe you had to restart. Maybe life got expensive. Maybe your income isn't where you want it to be. Maybe you've made mistakes. That does not mean you're disqualified. It just means your timeline is your timeline. The worst thing you can do is compare your beginning to someone else's middle. Some people reach 10K fast. Some take a year. Some take 3. Some take longer. What matters is not whether someone else did it faster. What matters is whether you are finally becoming the kind of person who can hold on to money when it comes in. That's the real upgrade. Not just earning more. Becoming more disciplined. More patient. More intentional. More stable. That is what the road to your first 10K is really building. Final message. If you want a simpler way to think about this, here it is. Your first 10K is built by doing a few basic things well for longer than most people are willing to. Spend less than you earn. Increase the gap. Save consistently. Protect the money. Don't fake the lifestyle. Don't quit in the boring middle. That's it. It's not flashy. It's not viral. It's not exciting enough for people selling shortcuts. But it works. And when it works, it changes more than your bank account. It changes how you see yourself. So, if you're on the road right now, stay on it. If you've only saved a few hundred, keep going. If you've saved your first 1,000, keep going. If you're halfway there, keep going. Because $10,000 may not make you rich, but it can absolutely make you different. This is Sovereign Finance. If you want more videos on building wealth, financial discipline, and getting your money right one step at a time, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.